Now turn up.
What up is Marcus with Dynasty Football Dads. We are going to be doing a Superflex mock draft, 3 rounds, so full 3 rounds. Now this is a mock draft that's already happened, so this would be like, so instead of having like a 45-minute video, we're going to be shrinking it down to 10 to 15 minutes to go through what the mock draft results were. But if you're new to the channel, we're giving away a free Jerry Jeudy signed jersey. All you have to be is a subscriber. We're about 60% of the way there. We're already at 600 subscribers plus. All we have to do is hit 1,000, and then we'll give it away.
Now turn up.
All right, so we are doing Superflex. Well, I have my son right next to me, so if he starts fussing, I'm just going to hold him, but we'll see if that happens here in the next 10, 15 minutes. Number 101 was William Trevor Lawrence. He is the easy 101 in Superflex. I mean, this is kind of an obvious pick. We don't have to go through too much through it, but I mean, he's my number 1 overall ranked player in Superflex. I think this is a slam dunk. I really think there's a big gap between him and any other player. So that's pretty much what we'll go with here. 1.2 is Zach Wilson. So the BYU quarterback. It's an interesting situation. I think this is kind of where the NFL draft's going to go. I think he's going to go number 2. And I think a lot of Superflex, he's going to go number 2. Now, Justin Fields is my number 2. But Zach Wilson, in this case, is going to go number 2. I think we have to separate what the NFL is going to do and what we think in fantasy. I think that's going to be an issue. And number 3 is specifically a big problem. Number 3 is Mac Jones. And this is, I wouldn't say a horrible pick, but this is a pick that I don't like. And there's a couple reasons for it. Number 1, he will be, I mean, I think a lot of people are assuming San Francisco. What happens if he doesn't go to San Francisco? That's going to be a big, he's going to start dropping down boards. Another issue is he is not a fantasy football quarterback that we are looking for. He doesn't have the rushing upside. He doesn't have the ability to throw 5,000 yards passing. He has limited issues. He's limited. He's not Joe Burrow. He's not even Herbert. He has the limited upside. I think his upside is like Kirk Cousins. And Kirk Cousins is an awesome QB 13, 14. But that's his upside. His downside is he's just a guy and ultimately ends up being just a lackluster quarterback. And we're looking at somebody maybe a little bit better than Josh Rosen, because Rosen was horrible, but we're looking at, that's his downside. Ultimately, we think that his character is a lot better than Josh Rosen. I would hope so. I mean, it's kind of hard not to be worse than Josh Rosen. But those are the top 3. Lawrence, Wilson, and Mac Jones. Now on to 4 is Justin Fields. So again, quarterback, and I can see this happening in a lot of different leagues. But I do think running backs are going to start peaking in there, especially with some of these good landing spots that running backs are going to go. So I'm just making sure my son's doing good. Yep, he's still doing good. So Fields is number 1.4. And that's again, a really good quarterback in my opinion. Number 5 is finally a running back, and that's Najee Harris. I really think that Najee Harris, this is going to be kind of the spot he goes. I think it's going to be 3-4 quarterbacks, and I think it's going to be 3 running backs. I think it's going to be kind of that group. And I think Jamar Chase will peek into some of these drafts, but I already did a video on why I don't think that is a particular great idea. But anyways, Najee Harris, 105. And speaking of Chase, he is 1-6 here, and I think that's great in 1 QB leagues, but we are in Superflex where I wouldn't be picking Chase here. I'd be picking either Etienne or I'd be picking Lance, but Trey Lance is not up yet. I would be either picking Lance at this position. Travis Etienne, man, I just had like a brain fog. Travis Etienne or Javonte Williams. I don't care about Javonte Williams' pro day. I understand. That's kind of what we expected. He doesn't have elite speed. He's not a 4.38 burner. I mean, 4.55 is what you expect from him. That's probably what you expect from Najee Harris, too. He might be a little bit faster, but ultimately, Javonte Williams has everything else, and that's what we care about. Number 7 is Trey Lance, and this is way too low for him. I think Trey Lance has high upside, and he has high running ability as well. And he's that quarterback that could be like the Deshaun Watson type. He might be a project for a year. He might be, I know that he sat out pretty much 2020. We'll just say he did. He played like a game, but he pretty much sat out 2020, which I think really hurt his Dynasty fantasy draft stock. I think if he would have performed what he did in 2019 and actually 2020, I think if he would have performed like that, we would be seeing him potentially, arguably 1.02. I mean, we're talking the second overall pick in the draft. But I don't think he will be happening I don't think that's going to happen in the NFL draft, and I don't think that's going to happen in Dynasty drafts. So I think he's going to be lower. Number 8 is going to be Travis Etienne. Again, Travis Etienne, my RB2. I think this is a good spot for him. Ultimately, right on value. So, I mean, we don't have to really go too much into that. 1.9 is going to be Kyle Pitts. So, Kyle Pitts, again, all the hype is happening. And I think I'm going to see him more and more here. I'm just going to grab my son here. Yes, hi. All right, we're going to hang out. Sound good? Yeah, it's nap time. 1.9, Kyle Pitts. Any thoughts? No thoughts yet. No thoughts yet. Maybe in a little bit. You're at least awake. So he might like Kyle Pitts. Kyle Pitts, 1.9. Again, we're going to see him more, especially in tight end premiums. He's going to be creeping up these drafts. 110. Let's see. I believe it's Javonte Williams. Yep, Javonte Williams. At 110, you are getting a competitive team that likely has 110, and they are getting him. Like, that is an awesome pick right there. I think that's a steal. Honestly, I think he should be a top 7 pick, but he's not. I think it should be 4 quarterbacks, not Mac Jones. I think it should be 3 running backs. I think that's how 1.01 and 1 through 1.07 should be. Kyle Pitts arguably could be into that mix. But 111, my wide receiver number 1, it's going to be Devontae Smith. Devontae Smith, this is the difference between Chase and Smith. It's like you're going to draft somebody at mid-first versus late-first, and you could potentially get like a second or next year's second or more capital in 2022 season, and that's a 5-pick difference in a lot of times, a lot of leagues. And we haven't even gotten to Waddle or Bateman or more, and those are, you might even be able to get 2 of those again for 1 Chase. So that's why I'm not choosing Chase or any wide receiver that in that regard that early. Let's see, 112, Jalen Waddle. So this ends the first round, and so you're getting Jalen Waddle, an electrifying wide receiver at the end of the first. It just shows how good this class is, because we're going to be starting off the second round, and it's still really good, because 201 is going to be Bateman. Rashad Bateman is arguably, he's my wide receiver 3. I'm just hoping he doesn't go somewhere bad. Every time I see a mock, he's always somewhere horrible. So it'll be interesting to see where he goes. 202 is going to be Kenneth Gainwell, my RB4. I think he's really that kind of tier 2 RB right now, all by himself. Honestly, I really do. His draft capital all depends. I mean, in the NFL, if his draft capital is high, he's shooting up my boards, staying up there. If he's round 4, round 5 pick, he is way down. He just shoots down my board. So he's really the biggest wild card, I think, in this draft right now. 2.03, and this is a reach. This is why we're going to have teams that actually do this. And Trey Sermon. And it's not that Trey Sermon's a bad running back. He's just not, he doesn't have, he's like everything J.K. Dobbins is, but like mediocre of it. Which is like Keyshawn Vaughn. Keyshawn Vaughn was like J.K. Dobbins, but everything just kind of muted down a little bit. And so you're going to get all these things that are just not elite. And you're going to get all these things that are just not amazing. I mean, Trey Sermon, there's a reason why he went to Ohio State. And he didn't perform that good until basically the end of the year. And it just, I think that's just not a good pick there. But that's my personal opinion. I think these running backs are not deep at all. I think this is one of the hardest classes, because it's top. Did you want to say something? It's either top heavy or it just drops way down. So 2.04 is going to be Rondell Moore. This is, again, just kind of a steal here. I mean, you're talking about, you're getting a top quarterback at 104 and you're getting Rondell Moore. Like, this is a huge, huge spot here. 2.05, Chuba Hubbard. I don't personally care for that pick. And, yep, he's waking up. Yeah. Yeah, I know. Yeah, Chuba Hubbard. Yeah, I wouldn't agree with that pick either. I think it's a bad pick. Yeah. 2.06, Terrace Marshall. Again, we're starting to get into these tier 2 wide receivers, which you're going to start seeing a lot of these fall, and that's exactly where we kind of projected it to be. 2.07, Kadarius Toney. Again, right where he's supposed to be, kind of. 2.08, Michael Carter. you're going to probably see him around here because I think he's going to be drafted in the 3rd, 4th round in the NFL draft. Just not a pick that I'm going to be picking right now. I understand his production at UNC, but he doesn't profile for translating to the NFL super analytically. He doesn't translate very well to the NFL. So 2.09 is going to be Tylan Wallace. Again, another tier 2 wide receiver that I do like, and then followed by that by two more tier 2 wide receivers, 2.10, Amon-Ra St. Brown, 2.11, Elijah Moore. So these are all wide receivers. They're all going to depend where they get drafted is going to be kind of where some of these guys are just going to fluctuate within the tier. They probably won't move out of the tier, but anything after Rondale Moore, all the way kind of through this Elijah Moore group, they're all relatively not the same. They're different types of wide receivers, but they're all going to be kind of right around that group. 2.12, 2.12, Tutu Atwell. That's way too early for him. Just way too early. Just pick a tight end or something, which is where we get into 3.01, which is Pat Freiermuth. Awesome pick there. I thought Brevin Jordan would be the tight end 2 off the board, so I'm really shocked that he wasn't taken prior. I think these tight ends are going to be right around this area. 3.02 is Dyami Brown. Again, he's probably the end of my tier 2 group. 3.03, we got Jamar Jefferson. This is when we start reaching for those running backs. 3.04, Demetric Felton. Again, they're not bad running backs. I think this is kind of where this is where the running back should go. This starts to be the beginning to mid 3rd round. Like, I understand that. 3.05, Seth Williams. Big boomer bust. Again, I think he's gonna be a bust, but he could be a boom, and he does have that boom potential. 3.06, Elijah Mitchell. I love Elijah Mitchell. I'm surprised he went 3.06. I was kind of surprised. I was like, whoa, that's a little early for him. I was kind of hoping that he'd be at the end of the 3rd. 3.07, Amari Rodgers. Again, not a bad pick. Kind of right into that tier 3 of wide receivers now. 3.08, Tamarian Terry, tier 3 wide receiver. 3.09, Kellen Mond. So we're starting to get into these really deep wide receivers we're just hoping for. 3.10, Kyle Trask. Again, we're in Superflex at this point. We're just kind of hoping. And 3.11, which is Brevin Jordan, which is way too low. I really like Brevin Jordan. I think that he was... I think 3.11 for Brevin Jordan is just a steal at this point. I mean, he deserves to be up there with Pat Freiermuth up in the early 3rd. And then Dwayne Eskridge, 3.12. Again, we're just trying to cut down this time on this video, so you don't have to deal with a half hour of going through this tedious stuff. You just know that this is here a mock draft through plenty of veterans in the Dynasty world, and you can kind of see what happens to a potential Superflex league. Like, sometimes this crazy stuff happens, and sometimes people fall and people rise and draft landing spots. It's going to be really, really fun to see what happens. So, I only got one hand here, but Jerry Jeudy jersey, I almost said Judy. Jerry Jeudy jersey signed free to one of you guys that subscribe. All we got to do is hit 1K, right? 1K! Ah. All right. Peace out. See you tomorrow.
Now turn up.